The Call of Friendship. Once upon a time, in a small town filled with the sound of roaring engines and the smell of motor oil, two men shared an unbreakable bond. Michael and Lucas had been best friends since childhood, bound together by their love of cars and motorcycles. They spent their days in Lucas's workshop, fixing engines, modifying old cars, and dreaming of building the fastest machines the town had ever seen. They called themselves the Grease Brothers. Michael was the quieter of the two, while Lucas had a sonorous laugh that could light up the darkest days. Lucas often talked about his son, Ethan, who was still just a little boy, but already fascinated by his dad's workshop. "One day, Ethan will work on engines with us," Lucas used to say. Then tragedy struck. Lucas died in a car accident one rainy evening while delivering a rebuilt car to a customer. Michael was devastated, as if he'd lost a piece of himself. He poured his grief into his work, keeping Lucas's workshop alive as a tribute to his best friend. He often found himself staring at an old photo of the two of them, greasy and grinning, taken on the day they first opened the workshop. On the back of the photo, Lucas had scribbled a note: "If Ethan ever needs anything, help him. Treat him as if he were me." Years passed. Ethan grew up, but Michael had no contact with him. He assumed the boy had moved away, taking with him the legacy of Lucas. Michael kept working, his hands as steady as ever, but his heart weighed down by the loss of his best friend. One late evening, Michael's phone rang. The voice on the other end was hesitant but familiar in a way Michael couldn't quite place. "Hi, is this Mr. Michael?" the boy asked. "Yes, who's this?" Michael replied, curious. "This might sound strange, but I'm Ethan, Lucas's son." Michael's heart stopped. Ethan continued, his voice trembling slightly. "I found a photo of you and my dad in his old workshop. On the back, there's a note with your number. It says if I ever need help, I should call you. My car broke down, and I don't know what to do." Michael felt a lump in his throat. "Do you know who I am?" Ethan hesitated. "No, not really. But my dad said you'd help me, like you were him in another body." Michael closed his eyes, holding back tears. The words hit him like a freight train. Lucas had always said Michael was like his second half. Hearing it from Ethan felt like Lucas had reached out from beyond. "Where are you?" Michael asked, his voice steady now. Ethan gave him his location, and Michael wasted no time. He grabbed his tools and drove to where the boy was stranded. When he arrived, the sight was uncanny. Ethan looked so much like his father. The same determined eyes, the same spark that Lucas carried. Michael fixed the car, but more than that, he shared stories about his father, about the man who had been more than just a friend. From that day on, Ethan and Michael grew close. They worked together in the old workshop, just as Lucas had dreamed. In time, Michael passed on all the skills he had to Ethan, ensuring that Lucas's legacy lived on in his son. And every time they turned a wrench or started an engine, Michael felt like Lucas was there with them, smiling, because through Ethan, his best friend had never truly left.